To maintain the element of surprise, you need to keep out of sight. The legendary B-2 stealth bomber can sneak up on you anywhere in the world. And I'm about to see the latest version. There's an incredible new bullet that gives the sniper a significant edge in the field. It can take out a target almost 1.5 miles away. And for an ex-Navy SEAL like me, it's the ultimate undersea adventure. I have exclusive access to a live wargame on the world's most advanced submarine.
Dive!
I'm Richard Mackowitz. And I'm tracking down lethal weapons that the enemy will never see until it's too late. It's Mission Invisible. The key to modern warfare has always meant controlling the skies.
Throughout aviation history, perhaps nothing's had a greater impact on the ground than the bomber. And for the last half-century, the B-52 has reigned supreme.
This legendary airplane has been the king of bombers for more than 5 decades. When you want to hit the enemy and hit them hard, the B-52 is a sure thing. But it's not exactly difficult for the enemy to spot. And bombers make perfect targets for surface-to-air missiles. So how do you take something that big and hide it from the enemy? You make it stealthy. In 1993, a revolutionary aircraft joined the bomber fleet. And I've come to one of the few places in the world where you have at least a chance of finding it. Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. It's home to the elite 509th Bomb Group, who fly this advanced aircraft into combat.
Behind these steel doors is the most striking aircraft ever built. And you'd have to be from another planet not to have heard of it. But if you get an opportunity to get up close and personal and see it for yourself, well, you gotta take it.
The B-2 Spirit is a giant bomber that defies radar, allowing it to penetrate even the most advanced air defenses and deliver a vast array of precision weapons practically unseen. And after a decade of great service, it's had a major upgrade.
The leanest, meanest bomber on the planet Earth just got a little nastier. Meet the latest version of the B-2 bomber, the Block 30.
The B-2 Block 30 multi-role bomber is a massive leap forward in aviation design. It has longer range, better radar, and a bigger weapons payload to carry even more advanced smart bombs. This latest version is almost invisible to modern surface-to-air missiles. It's the bomber that can strike anywhere, anytime. B-2 pilot Lieutenant Colonel Van Bemmelen knows what it's like to wield the power of this intimidating bomber.
This asset, I think, is important for the nation because we hold every target at risk. And I think the enemy knows that. All we got to do is know where he is.
Surprise is the most important element in combat. If they don't know you're there, they're going to have a hard time stopping you. This aircraft can get in quick, deliver a torrent of deadly munitions, then simply vanish. Invisibility is intimidating. Its boomerang shape is streamlined, reducing its radar cross-section and eliminating detection. The shape was so revolutionary that during early test flights, witnesses claimed dozens of UFO sightings. The aircraft is covered in radar-absorbing skin. Its engines and exhaust are on the upper surface, reducing its infrared signature. It stores all of its weapons internally, making it even more invisible to radar.
We don't have a fuselage. It's all about reducing the radar cross-section. This flying wing design is specifically to reduce our radar cross-sections.
The B-2 Block 30 has fantastic endurance capabilities at subsonic speeds, making it ideal for long-distance missions. In fact, on just one mission, it could cover the entire world. No wonder the record for the longest airborne combat mission was set by this aircraft at an incredible 44.3 hours. The elite crew who get to fly it see it as a great honor.
Mac, it's the coolest job in the world. I mean, just look at the airplane. It's awe-inspiring. As a pilot, when I look up in the air and see it, kind of the spaceship-looking flying wing, it's really neat. So it's an incredible opportunity not many people have gotten.
Coming up, the B-2's awesome payload. And I get to see what it's like to handle this incredible bomber.
That was nice, huh?
And later, I'm on board the commissioning voyage of the world's most advanced submarine. The B-2 stealth bomber has a deadly secret. Hidden in its belly is a formidable package of precision munitions. It's Sergeant Ed Paxton's job to load them.
We can do GB-28, which is a 5,000-pound bomb. We can do the AGM-158 or JASM, which is a standoff missile. We can do 500-pound JDAMs. You name it, we can put it on there pretty much.
The upgraded B-2 can carry about 40,000 pounds of weaponry. It can drop the world's most precise bomb, the Joint Direct Attack Munition, otherwise known as JDAM, to within 30 feet of its target, from 10 miles high. In fact, just 2 B-2 bombers can cause as much destruction as the combined might of 75 different aircraft.
We are going to be that Night 1 bomber. We're going to be the guy that knocks down the enemy defenses to facilitate the follow-on attacks by such airplanes as the B-52, the other fighters. We're going to be that Night 1 guy. That's what differentiates us.
The latest B-2 stealth bomber has cutting-edge avionics that makes flying the aircraft a lot easier.
The computers do pretty much everything for us. A lot of the actual stick flying is actually done by the computers, which allows us to concentrate more on the mission employment.
It's time to put this beast to the test and see for myself just how easy it is to get this 170-ton flying machine into the air.
Since I'm actually not qualified to be in the B-2 stealth bomber, I get to do the next best thing. I get to fly the simulator for the B-2 stealth bomber. Captain Emisher, you gonna take me through this?
You bet I am.
Let's go.
What do you say? You get to fly the B-2. That's what it's all about. So we're waiting to get up to 126 knots before I can start lifting up the nose?
With each B-2 bomber worth $2.1 billion, the pilots have to be ready for every eventuality before they take control of this extraordinary national asset.
Pressure on the stick.
This isn't just a video game. This is a multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art simulator that's so realistic you feel every twist and turn.
This is incredible.
My first task is air-to-air refueling, which is vital for long-distance combat missions.
All right, let's give it a shot here. All right?
Being able to refuel mid-air means the aircraft can execute missions up to 44 hours in duration. Mid-air refueling is dangerous. One slip and both planes could go down in flames.
She's coming up a little too high. Yeah, it definitely takes a little while to get used to. Oh, come on, get a little closer. Oh, I blew that one. Of course, I'm probably moving around a lot more than you guys do. Once you get used to it, it's a lot easier to stabilize. Just takes a little bit of practice. All right, you connected. Am I? Yep. Oh, great.
The B-2 is largely controlled by computers. Landing it, though, is still a skilled pilot's job.
If you actually put the aircraft symbol right there where the 2 lines intersect, that'll take you down. You're getting a little bit low, so you want to pull back just a little bit. Yeah. You can definitely kind of see how you get the feel of the ground rush in here. Absolutely. Just keep it coming down around the ground. That was nice, huh? Yeah, not too bad. Awesome.
It's an exhilarating feeling and an honor to be allowed to see how this breathtaking bomber handles. Invisible and deadly, it would strike fear into the heart of the enemy. If only they could see it coming. Still to come, a new sniper round that claims to be deadly accurate at 1.5 miles.
Torpedo evasion.
And later, I'm underway with the U.S. Navy's newest submarine. The sniper faces one of the most challenging jobs in the military. Their job is to protect troops by eliminating targets that lie way beyond the range of ordinary rifles. They are the epitome of stealth on the battlefield. The more distance they can put between themselves and their target, the more chance they're all going to get home alive. And for his fellow soldiers, his one shot could turn the tide of a battle. To do the job, snipers need a bullet that's both accurate and lethal at long range.
If your target is not in an armored personnel carrier and not hiding behind bulletproof glass, but if only sheer distance to the target is the major issue, perhaps what is needed is not a more powerful gun, but a bullet that can fly more accurately.
All bullets have their limits. Conventional wisdom says that the bigger the bullet, the longer the range. So, the small 5.56 round is normally accurate to around 500 yards. The larger 7.62 caliber can reach further.
Now I'm at 800 yards, and this is pretty much the maximum effective range for most high-performance 7.62 rounds. At 2,000 yards, I'm beyond any 7.62 caliber weapon. But even if I was wearing body armor, I'm still at the mercy of the Barrett M107 50 caliber rifle. There can't be a rifle that can reach out to 2,500 yards and be dead bang accurate. Right?
I've heard that the long-range rifle manufacturer Barrett has supposedly broken this ballistics barrier with a brand new round, the .416. As a former sniper, I know only too well that accuracy is all that matters. You only have one chance, so you have to become one with your weapon.
When you need a first shot kill, you must get so familiar with your weapon that you can come out cold with no warm-up. That bullet and place it exactly where you want it to go in one shot. They call it a cold bore shot.
It's a huge responsibility for the sniper. All of his skill and training goes into it. He also needs the right rifle and the right round.
Taking a cold bore shot in the heat of combat is like a surgeon performing open heart surgery with a boxing match raging around him.
John Wheeler is a former sniper, and he knows exactly why the cold bore shot is a matter of life and death for his fellow soldiers.
You are like an angel on their shoulder. It's a definite psychological force multiplier for us. If you know somebody's up there watching above, around, where you're going, you're gonna move, you know? And you're gonna complete that mission.
So, to guarantee a cold bore shot at 2,500 yards, it's gonna take one amazing weapon and one phenomenal round. There's just so many variables that a sniper has to take into consideration. Just to name a few, there's wind direction, how gravity will affect the round, even the temperature and elevation of the area around him. I'm stunned to even suggest that it may be possible.
Chris Barrett's vocation is bullets and rifles. For 2 years, he's dedicated himself to the mission of maintaining accuracy past 2,500 yards. And he's discovered that the solution lay with the bullet. To be accurate at that kind of distance, he needed a bullet that could stay supersonic for longer.
I knew we could get a bullet to stay supersonic at these long distances. I just knew it would take some time to get the correct bullet design, correct cartridge design, but I knew it was capable. The rifle was capable.
And when he says it wasn't easy, he's not kidding. If it's too big, it eventually slows down. If it's too small or too light, there's not enough punch on it when it gets there. Enter the .416 round. If it works, it'll make the sniper more lethal and more stealthy than ever before. Chris Barrett believes he's succeeded.
The key to making the .416 so accurate was just the blistering speed by which it reaches the target. It's very little time for the bullet to be affected by any influences.
Barrett achieved this by making the .416 smaller and lighter than the 50 cal round, so it can travel faster but still have enough punch to take out soft targets. And the key to this is the powder that propels the bullet out of the rifle.
We had to develop a powder that would provide the correct amount of burn at the correct rate to provide the velocity we were looking for.
The unique blend of powders and propellants in the round allows for a controlled release down the barrel, which means the muzzle velocity is significantly faster.
To prove that this supersonic bullet isn't just a myth, I get to test it for myself.
I'm going to have a shoot-off with Barrett's top shot, John Wheeler.
Good? I'm good.
He'll be firing 50 cal rounds against me with the new .416. But here's where it gets interesting. John has 10 shots if he needs them. I have just 1. Now, I'm an ex-Navy SEAL sniper. With any other round, I'd never be able to guarantee a cold bore shot at this kind of range. Will the 416 deliver? John's first round misses the target, but now he can adjust for his next shot.
That was fantastic.
John scores just inside the black. With John's third shot, he gets even closer to the bullseye.
That was great.
It took 3 shots for John to get on target. I've just got 1. So, this is the moment of truth. Will the 416 make me a believer?
I hit it. Good job, that's awesome. Yep, you just successfully hit about a 4-foot target at over 1.5 miles. Good job.
That's fantastic. I never would have thought it was possible. 1 shot, 1 kill at this kind of range.
Yep. Good job, that was awesome.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. I give all the credit to Barrett Brinkman.
Unbelievable. 2,500 yards with 1 shot. I've got to get a closer look.
Tell you what, actually going 2,500 yards just to see what you hit is, I've never had to do that before, let me put it that way. I'm stunned. I treated the X like it was the center mass, like the heart. And based on this drop, if you look at me right next to it, you can see, essentially it's a gut shot right here at 2,500 yards. It's fatal.
The 416 has made the sniper even more deadly and stealthy.
If you only have 1 shot and you need to be dead on over long distances, maybe bigger isn't better. The military wonder weapon that can reach out and touch someone, the 416 is ideal for the longest of long-range shots.
Coming up, the new Special Forces stealth weapon that fits in your hand and can disable a warship. This is the perfect weapon for a stealth mission. It's the story of David and Goliath brought right up to date. No bigger than a beer can, it's compact and deadly. Once unleashed, it can disable tanks, vehicles, even an entire warship. Ideal for special operations.
I'd like you to meet the Krakatoa. What this basically does, it becomes a giant copper bullet that slices through metal like a hot knife through butter. It's all business.
The pint-sized Krakatoa can be detonated on land or underwater. It uses the same technology found in many big anti-armor weapons, but in a portable package. It's named after a deadly volcano, and I suspect it delivers a big bang. To check it out, I flew over to Somerset in England.
Okay, essentially what we have here is a stripped-down Krakatoa. Some plastic, a little bit of copper. Looks like a plumber's kit. But wait till you see what the Krakatoa does.
The Krakatoa is the latest invention from Alford Technologies. The genius behind this device is Dr. Sidney Alford, a world expert on explosive charges. The Krakatoa uses plastic explosive packed behind a metal cone to form a shaped charge. When it's detonated, the cone turns into a lethal jet of hot metal that penetrates through heavy armored steel plate. And get this, the Krakatoa is made from plastic, making it light and easy to transport. And that's essential for a stealth operation.
These plastic modules are relatively shockproof. You can jump with them, you can move with them.
Definitely.
It's easy to carry, but does it work? Our target is a 1-inch thick steel plate. It's typically the same thickness as the hull of a warship. But can this small device actually penetrate steel from 25 yards away?
Behind this copper plate is about 2 pounds of plastic explosive. When it's fired off, this will basically become a projectile, a slug, like a gun, that will penetrate through armor.
Firing! 4, 3, 2, 1.
Look at that. This little device has had a dramatic effect on the steel plate. If that was a tank, it could do all sorts of damage to the inside.
Look at that.
Effective shot. Not a very pretty one.
It's a great shot. Look at that.
Clearly.
That's probably about
serious
80
damage
pounds
to
worth of
the-
steel right there. Look at that. Look at that beautiful hole. This is an inch of steel plate. That little copper that was about this thin became a slug, hot slug of copper, boom, right through there. But this is exactly what the Krakatoa does. It smashes steel.
The Krakatoa may be a blast on land, though it doesn't just smash holes in vehicles. Its smart new design means it can work underwater as well. At sea, the Krakatoa can perform two roles. First, it can take out deadly mines, and mines have become an even bigger threat for the Navy. During the first Gulf War, two warships, the USS Princeton and the USS Tripoli, were both struck by enemy mines planted in the Persian Gulf. As a defensive weapon, divers can plant the Krakatoa to take out mines. As an offensive stealth weapon, the device can be used to attack a warship unseen. A lone frogman carrying a bag of Krakatoas can disable an entire destroyer or cruiser without ever being detected. I'm about to find out how by visiting one of the smallest navies in Europe. This test is taking place in Cork, Ireland. Lieutenant Clodagh McConnell is an explosives ordnance disposal expert.
The Krakatoa can be used very effectively underwater. Underwater, it's been used penetrating 1-inch steel up to 50 meters, and it's proved to be very effective.
At this training pool, Navy divers practice placing Krakatoa underwater, attaching it with a magnet to a sheet of steel representing the hull of a warship.
The Krakatoa is very simple to use. When the diver applies it to the device, they just go up and place it, and basically one device, place, explode, and that's it.
Sidney Alford invented the Krakatoa, but it was his son Roland who helped ensure that the device worked as well underwater as it does on land.
The biggest mechanical challenge was designing a seal that would work reliably. So what we had to do was to streamline it, make it as small as possible, but still efficient. Come up with that, and then actually play around with different types of seals and make sure that you can actually screw it down without special tools and keep all the water out.
Now I'm about to see just how devastating the Krakatoa can be. Below the waterline, unseen, undetected, one man now has the capability of delivering a very bad day to any warship.
We've dropped a steel plate into the ocean to represent the hull of a ship. Lieutenant McConnell has loaded the weapon and gives it to the divers to attach to the target. Once it's placed, they need to get out of there, and fast.
Really, you don't want to be in the water anywhere near this, within even half a mile of this, because if an explosion went off, it's just going to start collapsing all the hollow areas of your body. Your eardrums are going to burst. That's the first thing. Lung damage. It's going to be a real mess.
That's the safety fuse lit. Watch out, because Krakatoa is about to blow. And there it goes. Because of the tamping effect of the water, the bang isn't as loud as it would have been on land. But it looks like it's worked. It's created such destruction, there's a problem recovering the steel target. And that's exactly what a frogman wants. A ship to sink right to the bottom.
They've got zero visibility down here, so we're never going to find that piece of steel. But if they did, or if a trawler ever pulls it up, they're going to find a nice big hole in that piece of steel.
It's a perfect stealth weapon.
Like the volcano it's named after, the Krakatoa delivers a big bang, whether it's in the water or above the ground.
Torpedo evasion.
Coming up, I get an exclusive trip on the Navy's newest stealth sub.
Fire, Tube 6. Missile away, Tube 6.
There's something dangerous and silent in the water. It's gigantic. It's powerful. It's deadly. And it can creep within a stone's throw of this location.
I'm talking about the USS Texas, a Virginia-class nuclear attack submarine that is really two powerful subs rolled into one. It can perform operations in deep waters and run covert combat missions at shallow depths. It's 1.5 times the length of a 747 and weighs 7,800 tons. Yet, it can patrol in just a few fathoms of water. Despite its size, it goes undetected. For enemy sonar, there's nothing but a hole in the water. This is the ultimate underwater stealth vessel. As a former Navy SEAL, it's a privilege to head to Norfolk, Virginia, home of the largest naval base on Earth, to rendezvous with this amazing high-tech submarine.
It's the newest, most advanced nuclear submarine on the planet. And we've been given exclusive access on its commissioning voyage. Pay attention. This is going to be cool.
As we set sail, I meet up with Chief of the boat, Mark Brooks.
When you think about trying to get a crew ready to go to combat, what are some of the things you're most concerned with as the chief of the boat?
We can do everything on board now, so that makes me feel better, where I can have a look to see how everybody's training, where I don't have different guys at this trainer standard all over the naval base. We can do everything on board here, and that's a plus.
I'll see just how effective their training is later, when the USS Texas receives a mission to attack.
Well, we're about to head below. Submariners aboard the USS Texas can do this up to 3 months underwater.
Prepare to dive.
Very well, co-pilot.
Passing 095 to the left, sir. 10 degrees water course.
Very well, co-pilot.
The Texas isn't just stealthy. It also boasts some of the smartest digital technology in the world.
Very well, pilot.
Walking into the control room is like walking onto the set of a sci-fi movie.
Pilot, make it up 250 feet. Use 30 degree up angle.
Nasty 5-1 is vanished.
Captain Litherland is her commanding officer. A submariner for over 25 years, the computer technology on board makes it easier for him to monitor what's happening above and beneath the waves.
There are over 70 screens in this control room, each displaying different pieces of important information. And that wealth of information is a tremendous asset to a commander as he tries to figure out what's going on in the world around him, how best to employ the ship to carry out its mission.
No up periscope here. This is the world's first submarine without a traditional retractable periscope that relies on mirrors and glass. Instead, it's a photonic fiber optic mast that can beam color and infrared images onto any of the sub's screens. Controlled by a joystick, the operator can quickly get a 360-degree view.
Pilot, the number 1 scope will actually remain raised for mission-critical camera operations.
It's important to remember that the USS Texas isn't just super smart. It's also armed and dangerous. It's a multi-role submarine capable of devastating sea and land attacks with 16 Tomahawk missiles. Lieutenant Jonathan Wright knows the payload as well as anyone.
Tell me about the weapons on board the USS Texas.
Okay, one of the great things about the Texas or the Virginia-class submarine itself is we can carry a variety of different weapons on board. We are configured right now. You can see around the room here. It's very open space. We can hold up to 24 weapons in the cradles.
For short-range attacks on other ships, it's equipped with Mark 48 torpedoes. A Mark 48 can reach a target over 5 miles away, but the most impressive thing is its guidance system. As it leaves the launch tube, a thin wire spins out, physically linking the sub to the torpedo. As the torpedo seeks its prey, it's in constant contact with fire control back on the sub, feeding valuable intel through its guiding wire. If the sub is required to strike at long-range targets, the Texas is packed with land-attack Tomahawk cruise missiles. They're capable of reaching a target that's almost 1,000 miles away. The Tomahawk is essentially a fire-and-forget weapon. And its range means the Texas is capable of attacking 75% of the world's land mass. Walking around the sub, it's easy to forget how fast things can change for the crew. When the Texas changes depth, everyone knows about it.
Pressure high.
15 down, 450 feet.
Here we're heading up, 30 degrees. As you can see with my feet, it's dug into the tiniest piece of metal that's up. I'm gonna lose the foot if it doesn't stay locked. 30 degrees, straight up.
down, 500 feet.
Coming back up, probably around 25, 20, 10, probably about 5 right here. And we're just starting to level back out.
But whether performing deep or shallow water missions, the submarine still needs to be stealthy. even traveling at 25 knots, the Texas is quieter than most subs going at just 5. How? By adding a few stealthy measures, like rubber shock absorbers under the floors and an exterior rubber coating to reduce sonic noise. And it's this stealth that makes the sub an ideal platform for special operations.
One area that we particularly emphasized with this class of submarine is support of special warfare forces.
Being able to put Navy SEALs and Marines out of the sub close to the shoreline is what gives the Texas its edge when it comes to combat missions in shallow water.
Here we have a capability that's been optimized through the inclusion of a 9-man lockout chamber, which allows us to take Special Forces, SEALs, Rangers, put them out of the ship and recover them covertly close into the coast where we expect to operate. We also have the ability to embark dry deck shelters.
When I was a Navy SEAL, locking out of an emergency escape trunk was a real challenge. In old trunk spaces, you'd be lucky if you could fit 2 guys and maybe a small rolled-up rubber boat. With this trunk space, you can fit up to 12 SEALs in here. Behind these walls, it's classified, but there's enough space that 12 guys can be lined up, ready to go outside of this escape trunk and do operations on land. Coming up, it's battle stations as I join a live exercise aboard the USS Texas.
Attention launch.
Is it as stealthy as it claims? I'm on a fantastic voyage aboard the world's most revolutionary stealth sub, the USS Texas. This is its commissioning mission, and I've been granted exclusive access to see it put through its paces in a combat exercise. Capable of operating in both open ocean and coastal waters, the Texas moves with such stealth that no one will ever see it coming. And there's no better way to strike than when you're out of sight. This exercise is designed to push its new crew to the limit.
Texas, line Alpha, 1925.
You're seeing flash traffic. There's a merchant vessel in our area that has been overtaken by forces enemy to the United States. This vessel may be carrying components that can be used for weapons of mass destruction. Our tasking is to destroy this vessel by any means possible, sir.
In a situation like this, time is critical. The first thing the captain needs to do is establish the position of the rogue ship.
That was the last known position of merchant bad guy, sir.
What was the contact's motion at that point?
West towards Port Everglades, sir.
What speed?
10 knots.
So it looks like he's headed in our direction, Captain.
6-4.
The pilot swings into action to get the sub up to periscope depth.
6-2.
This allows the crew to make a 360-degree sweep of the entire area.
6-0 feet.
We're looking for a tanker, probably laden, deep draft. Should be out to the west of us somewhere. We should be coming up from the stern and overtaking. Keep a sharp eye out. Pilot, right 5 degrees rudder, steady course.
Where's right 5, sir?
Very well, pilot.
Minutes later, the crew think they found their target.
Range, 1 division, high power.
The crew is called to a heightened state of emergency. They have the contact in the sight, and I'm going to trail it, identify it, and make sure it's the actual contact they're looking for.
Shifting to black and white, high resolution.
Attention attack center, we have just overtaken the contact we believe to be the rogue merchant.
The contact is positively identified. The plan? To take it out. This is where the stealth of the submarine becomes critical.
Very well, commence launch, flight Alpha.
If you look very carefully, you saw the contact is off to the starboard. We're swinging around the back end right now. We want them to come forward just a little bit more. We'll swing around into position, perfect position if they want to fire. They can fire, and no one will even see them. No one will even know that Texas was there.
Now we're running at top speed to ensure when the periscope is raised, we're in a good position to fire.
Transition to cruise.
They quickly come to about 60 feet. At that depth, they raise the periscope. They want to make sure they do a 360 just in case they didn't spot any other contacts. Now that they know it's safe, they're setting themselves up for an attack.
The USS Texas is making final preparations for a Tomahawk strike.
Mr. Arm, Mr. Captain.
The ship is at battle stations, ready to attack and react to any possible counterattacks. The moment the Texas fires, it's at its most vulnerable.
My goal is always to maintain the stealth of my submarine. It's my only defensive weapon. Shooting missiles out of the water with flaming tails behind them, not a good way to maintain stealth.
Man, battle station strike.
Man, battle station strike.
The missiles are loaded and ready to fire.
Fire, tube 6. Missile away, tube 6. Fire, tube 7. Missile away, tube 7.
The contact is now under attack from the Texas, but there's incoming danger. A torpedo has been launched, and it's headed right at us.
Torpedo evasion.
Dive.
The Texas takes countermeasures and dives deep to evade the threat. It's so agile, it can dive from 250 feet to 600 feet in just seconds.
Drawing out that. Like we left it behind.
The skill of the crew made sure that the torpedo never came close.
I'll secure battle station.
Secure battle station, sir.
The mission's over, and for the crew of the USS Texas, it's a total success.
After seeing just a few of the capabilities of this amazing submarine, it's clear you don't want to mess with Texas.